Yes, indeed, folks. My name is Tall Biscuit, and this is Blue Please on WoW Radio. And if there are any sound issues with this episode, I do apologise. We're testing out new equipment, and as usual, I get to be the test bed. Yay! You know, whatever the case, we'll have it sorted out. Should sound okay, I would hope so. But anyway, now, before I go on to the next topic, I'd just like to say one thing. Isn't Wrathgate like the best thing you have ever seen, ever? I mean, if you haven't seen this, I'm going to have Cooked Auto post this in the channel, so if you're not already there, it's irc.mmoirc.com, hash or pound WoW Radio, or you can use the chat link at the top of our screen at wcradio.com. Have a look at this, and it's just stunning. I mean, I'm not kidding. This is a machinima production done in-house by Blizzard, yeah? It's actually an in-game cutscene, yeah? It's not a cinematic, it's a cutscene. There's a difference. And it's for the kind of sieging of the Wrathgate, and it's got Arthas in it, it's got Saurfang the Younger, and all of this other cool stuff. Now, if you're not into spoilers, don't watch the video. If you don't want it to all be spoiled, don't watch the video, but those of you who do want to watch it, good lord, that is the best thing to ever happen to the WoW storyline ever. I know, I don't like the WoW storyline, I don't like Warcraft lore, I don't care, you know, I like 40k lore, you know, I'm a big buff about Warhammer 40k and all that kind of stuff, so I'm not really too fussed about the Warcraft lore, but really, is that just not the best thing? It's just stunning, the way that it actually ignites those faction tensions again, and brings in a whole third-party element of aggression, and just the pure savagery of the whole thing. I gotta say, the machinima team at Blizzard, who I believe includes Tristan Pope and Terran, who used to be part of Rufus Cubed and did the Return machinima, if you remember that. He used to be paired up with Ezra. They did the Return machinima, which I love very much. They have done a stellar job, and everyone else there at Blizzard, well done. Well done, because that is just unbelievable. More, please. You know, more of that. If you want to prove that WoW can be a sufficiently dark game with good conflict, then that would be the way to go about it. However, this is the way that you don't go about it, and this is my next topic for today. Now, it has come out in the past week or so that the Battleground gear in Wrath is going to require you to spend a small amount of arena points, as well as honor, in order to receive it. So what happened? Well, what do you think happened? I mean, really, do I have to tell you what could have possibly happened when they said that? Yep, war! Good God, you all. What it isn't good for? Well, on the WoW forums, there isn't anything that it's not good for. I mean, it's all they seem to care about. So, I'm going to analyse this decision, and I'm going to tell you what I think it means for the game. Because, in my opinion, this ain't a good thing. And yes, I have been a little bit more upbeat about WoW since I actually started doing Season 3 of the show, and I'm very glad about that. But, that is not going to stop me from being honest. Yep, there's a lot of cool things in Wrath, I'm liking the look of it, but this is a bad idea, and here's why. Now, the issues that I've been having with PvP lately, particularly since the release of Arenas in the Burning Crusade, is that PvP is starting to get in the way of the good stuff, and that's raiding. It's starting to get in the way of raiding. That bothers me more than anything, because raiding from the very start has always been the biggest thing. Now, yes, I covered this last week, so I'm not going to go into that. I just want to kind of lay it out there for you. That is my initial view. Raiding is the important thing in WoW, and PvP is kind of a side project. Now, obviously, this is not what Blizzard now thinks. Now, since TBC, they've actually been investing a lot of time, and indeed a lot of money, into pushing the arena scene as an e-sport. Now, when PvP Battlegrounds first came out, I thought the idea was pretty cool, and I still do. I think the PvP Battlegrounds are a very cool thing. I think they're very good for playing a little bit of an alternative playstyle, doing some stuff between quests, doing some stuff between raids, and just going and kicking someone's head in, which, quite frankly, not a bad thing. I'm always up for that. It's good fun. So, Battlegrounds were good, and the system of Battlegrounds, if you remember back in the day, used to work this way. There were two things you could get from Battlegrounds. You could earn PvP rank, and you could go all the way up to rank 14, and rank 14 gave you access to High Warlord / Grand Marshal gear. You could also acquire rep-based items associated with the particular Battlegrounds that you were fighting in. So, Alterac Valley, Warsong Gulch, and then later Rathi Basin, they all had items which you could get, and you could rep up with the faction associated with that battleground. And it was pretty easy to actually get that stuff. It cost a little bit of money, but all you really needed in reality was rep, and there were some pretty cool items. I seem to recall the Unstoppable Force. I don't know. Anyone remember that one? That's a bit of a classic. Unstoppable Force, we had stuff like the Ice Barbed Spear, which was actually a quest reward, one of the best things you could get as a hunter pre-like AQ40. It was kind of crazy. You also had stuff from Arathi Base. You had a really nice staff, the Iron something staff. I think Ironwood, Iron Skin staff or something like that. Iron Bark, maybe. And it was a really good PvP staff. It was actually not bad in PvE either. It was pretty sweet. You also had a dagger, which was pretty cool too. So you had all this stuff you could get from Battlegrounds, and Battlegrounds became something of a legitimate form of play, and that's good. A legitimate play style, always nice to have. It's always nice to have an alternative to raiding, because that's not what everyone likes to do. Now, that was okay until they changed things. They changed things around a little bit. They got rid of the ranking system entirely, and they basically made it so you had to save up lots of honor points and tokens in order to buy stuff. Now, what that caused at the time was you to see players running around in like tier 0 gear, Shadowcraft, with high warlord weapons, because the weapons were the thing which did the most for you, like the weapons and the shoulders. Those were always the big bits of gear. So people would buy the weapons and the shoulders, and it was kind of ridiculous. You say any old scrub running around with a high warlord weapon, and some of these weapons were pretty good. They really were. Like the High Warlord's War Staff at the time was pretty amazing. You were looking at a weapon which was only really outclassed staff-wise by the Staff of Shadowflame, and even then, not an awful lot. So, yeah, and the Staff of Shadowflame was a big deal at the time. You've got to bear in mind that the Staff of Shadowflame was almost as good as the AQ40 weapons you were getting. It was better than the AQ20 weapon, the Staff of Ruin, which was actually really good as well. And you also had a High Warlord Spellblade, which was introduced a little bit later on. But yeah, the staff was awesome. I remember seeing people with that, and I'm thinking, hey, that looks great. And good lord, the stats on that thing, wow. And this thing had I can't remember how much stamina it had, but it had a lot of stamina pre-TBC, when that was actually a big deal, and resilience wasn't even part of the picture. So they changed that around, and I can't say I was too pleased by that, but okay, we can go with that. Because the way Battlegrounds were is that the sheer amount of time you had to actually play to rank through this stuff was ridiculous, and it was kind of an unfair system. You had cabals and groups of people actually exploiting the system, and it was like cartel more than anything. They'd have all these people group up, and if you weren't in that group, you wouldn't be getting rank 14 because of the way that the placement system worked. Only one person would be able to get rank 14 every week. So they have to pre-arrange it, and they were using pre-mades to stomp whatever. They'd use exploits, they'd do everything, So it was kind of ugly back then, it really was. And that wasn't such a good thing. So along came Wrath. No, it didn't. Along came TBC. I'm horrible at this. It's the economic crisis. I'm going to blame that. I'm so worried that the money on my desk is suddenly going to disappear and be given to a big Wall Street corporation. Anyway, the Burning Crusade brought in arenas, and arenas were like builders a new way of playing. Unfortunately, they have done little more than almost completely supersede doing Battlegrounds. And I'm not kidding, they really have. They've been promoted, and Battlegrounds have fallen by the wayside. There have been some changes made to BGs, but you had an issue where they dumbed down Alterac Valley to the max, so that all it actually requires now is to run past each other and kill the enemy lord. Ha ha ha, great. That isn't fun. That's like doing a public quest in war, but without any objectives, It's like doing it on a core RVR server where you can't actually kill the opposing team. And that's PvE. That is not PvP. If you're not killing the opposing team, it's not PvP. I'm sorry, that's just not how it goes. So, they did that, and Warsong Gulch remained pretty much the same. They got Arathi Base, and they got the Eye of the Storm, which is the worst thing I've seen. I can't even fathom how to do that battleground. I don't know what it is about that battleground. I just hate it. Maybe it's all the purple, If I want to see lots of purple, I go and raid Nex, If I want to see lots of purple, that's where I go. I don't want to see the purple terrain and not being able to see anything. Oh, look, I've randomly fallen off the battleground. No, it's hopeless. I can't even work out what I'm supposed to be doing there. Maybe it's just because I'm dumb and stupid and don't understand the higher plane of thinking. But who knows? Anyway, the arenas have become a big deal. Unfortunately, with Wrath, it seems like they're going to become the only deal. Because the idea is that in Wrath, you're not going to be able to buy battleground gear. And, bear in mind, this is the basic stuff. Whether or not they're going to be changing that in Wrath, I do not know. There is some gear that I've seen, but it's all named Gladiators now. It's not like, High Warlords gear and stuff like that. I haven't seen it in the beta yet. It may be there. Maybe I'm just an idiot and I missed it. But it doesn't seem to be there in any shape or form. Now, Battlegrounds gear has been taking a really heavy beating at the hands of that anyway. And indeed, they actually introduced a system whereby you could go and earn your honor in the battlegrounds, and you could buy arena gear with it. And to be honest, the gear required for both is pretty similar. Because of the introduction of resilience, that's just the way it is. You do better if you have resilience. Otherwise, you get squashed. You really do. And that includes being in a battleground. So, it's not like battleground gear actually really has any relevance to anybody anymore. It's all about the arena gear. Now, I would have hoped that they would have actually seen this situation and thought, right, well, this is not a good thing. Variety is a good thing. If we're gonna have our whole suite of PvP stuff, we want to make sure that they're separate entities. At least that's how I would have done it. I would say, right, arenas, that's a legitimate playstyle. Battlegrounds, that's a legitimate playstyle. Raiding, that's a legitimate playstyle. These are all legitimate playstyles, and if we put them in the game, we need to cater to them. We can't favour one over the other. That's not good. That's the noise people. So you would have thought that they'd have taken the battleground and said, right, okay, we're going to be adding another battleground. We're going to have this outdoor PvP area as well, so that's a fourth way of playing the game, outdoor PvP style. No, I'm sorry, outdoor PvP didn't work before Wrath, so don't even go there. Don't even tell me that happened, because it didn't. I know, I've been on a PvP server since the launch, and outdoor PvP's terrible. Bring back the days of Tassel Show vs Taran Mill just for fun, but that really was about it. So you've got your 3 different ways of playing PvP, and you've got your 4 different ways of playing the game there. So you'd think you cater to all of them, but what they're doing here is homogenizing again. And didn't I say this last week? Didn't I say that there was a serious homogenization problem going on here? No, not a serious pasteurization problem. Taurens are fine, don't worry about it. No rotting milk there. Cheese is cool. The cheese stands alone. But there's a homogenization problem that they're taking these 2 separate playstyles and they're trying to mold them into one. Do you want that? I don't know, because I'm not a big instanced PvPer. I don't like that. I would like the idea of outdoor PvP, which is why I play Warhammer. I play Warhammer because Warhammer has keep sieges in RVR open battlegrounds and open objectives that actually make sense and are there for a reason. And it's set up to allow you to do that. It makes way more sense than the stuff that's done in WoW. I'm not going to fault WoW for that, because WoW is a PvE game. WoW has always been a PvE game. They tacked on PvP before they even released the game. But it was not part of the original design mandate. It's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to have a nice exploration dungeon crawling game. And why not? That's a good thing. That's what most people do anyway. You're telling me that the vast majority of level 70s don't raid? Because I would turn around and tell you to look at the facts. There are like 4.4 million people who have killed at least one boss in Karazhan. How many level 70s are there? Think about it. The majority of people have raided at some point, and have obviously enjoyed it enough to get a piece of loot. So, there you go. Now, I think that these playstyles need to be kept separate. I think that Battlegrounds need to be taken a whole different direction. They need to look at Battlegrounds and say, what is currently wrong with Battlegrounds? I mean, Warstone Gulch is pretty cool. Arathi Basin is pretty cool. AV is a mess, as is, in my opinion, Eye of the Storm. Those are things that need to be changed. If you're going to make AV a kind of PvE/PvP hybrid, which is what it was in the first place, then do it properly. Go the whole hog. Don't dumb it down. Don't keep taking out NPCs. Make it an actual merged hybrid battleground. Put the objectives back in. Put the cavalry charges in. Put the summoning the big ice lord in. Put all of this stuff back in the game. Put the troll NPC that you could get loot off. Put it all back in there. It's fun. It's interesting. No, it's not strictly PvP, but you got 3 other battlegrounds for that, and arenas for that, and Lake Wintergrass for that, and another battleground coming, You've already got that. You've got plenty of variety for those who want pure PvP. So let's have a little bit of hybrid back there. But let's not mix battlegrounds and arenas. Let's make them sufficiently different. Adding the PvE element, in my opinion, to AV would make them sufficiently different. That's kind of the thing. If you're looking at arena gear and BG gear, they're kind of the same. That's the kind of thing that you really need. The blue stuff that comes from BGs right now is terrible, because arena gear gives you all you need in a battleground. In PvP, it is PvP gear through and through. That's what it's designed for. That's what it's good with. You really can't actually object to that, but don't mix them up. No, I mean, forcing people to do arenas is terrible. I like battlegrounds. I don't like arenas. I think arenas are like the worst thing. I don't begrudge people that join arenas, but you know what? I redesigned the arena system. You can check that out at my forum, at Blue Police Forum. Just go to wcradio.com/forums. Go check it out. It's called It's a Top. I redesigned the system, and I thought, that was a better system, and that's the way it should go. And it should be kept totally separate from Battlegrounds, and try and keep it totally separate from raiding as well, because there's way too much mixing it up, there's way too much crossover, and it's harming the rest of the game. You're harming Battleground players here by pretty much forcing them to go into arenas to get Battleground gear. And yes, you are forcing them. No, they can't just go and get gear from elsewhere. Where are they going to get it from? You know, you really think they're going to go in there in PvE gear and get stomped? That's no fun. No one wants that. I don't know what they're thinking, to be brutally honest. I'm not sure what's going on in their head. But, well, they're Blizzard and I'm not, and they get to make the decision. All I hope is that they see some sense and try to sufficiently diversify the playstyles, because both are legitimate, and there are people that enjoy doing both, and that is fine. You know, that is cool. You know, you should be very proud that you managed to develop a game which has got all these different playstyles in it. But merging them together, mixing them up, no, you're just going to alienate people. That's all that's going to happen. You're going to alienate people. People who do arenas anyway. They're not going to do it for BG gear, because the arena gear is good enough for it anyway. Why even bother? Never force people to do something they don't want to do, because they will resent you for it. My name is Total Biscuit. This is Blue Please on WoW Radio. In Flames with Trigger coming up right now, and I'll be right back after this, and we're talking about the future of raiding in Wrath. Enjoy.